11 o'clock. Hey everybody, and welcome back. And today I'm going to start off with a new video format for the channel, which is going to be my monthly whiskey haul. So you kind of see me traveling around the state and the country and the world at this point in search of great whiskey. But what you never really get to see is what I actually end up picking up. And now with my new whiskey space finally done, we have a place to get into some more interesting and detailed exploration of whiskey writ large. As you can see though, the shelves are a bit bare for the moment. There's kind of spots on my bar. So I'm really hoping to be able to share with you the process of hunting and catching and ultimately drinking these interesting whiskeys of all different levels and all different types. Now, I don't really know what to call this place yet. I don't know if I should call it the Whiskey Lab or maybe the Drink Library. But also, if you all have any suggestions, leave them down in the comments. I'd love to get a cool name for this space. You all might be more clever than I am. So I'd love to hear those ones too. All right, so now on to more pressing issues. So this month's haul for August is especially epic. There's just really no way around saying it. It's just a great way to start off this series because I got so super duper lucky this month, and I probably should have played the lottery because I'd be a billionaire by now. Really, I came across a ton of Japanese whiskey unicorns, all the same place, all at the same time, and all at a very reasonable price. So basically just slightly above the MSRP. It felt like, I don't know, like I had died and gone to that big Japanese whiskey store in the sky. And no, I'm not talking about Narit International. Also, now that we have the space, moving forward, we can get into some real deep things like reviews and tastings and comparisons. You know, some of that real meaning of life whiskey stuff that we couldn't really do before we had the space. Also before I get started, I want to do a real quick whiskey check of what I'm drinking while we are doing the haul here. Today I am drinking this Lagavulin 16, which is probably one of my first and favorite whiskeys to have. There we go. One of my first and favorite whiskeys because of the fact that it taught me that whiskey can be more than just a vehicle for drunkenness, but rather it is artwork that enrolls inside your mouth, to say the least. So I'm very excited to have the haul going. I'm great to have you all here. Cheers to you all. That is delicious. Thanks, Ron Swanson. Also, before we get started, I just want to obviously say thank you to all of you who tune in the channel and who like and who subscribe to the videos. It's just truly amazing to have you all part of this very small but growing whiskey community in our own little corner of YouTube. It's heartening to see the numbers start going up, to see your comments, and I really love hearing about what whiskey hunting is like wherever you are in the world and in the country. It's so different in different parts. So, by the way, if you do like these videos, of course, please don't forget to like and subscribe because, frankly, it's good for the channel. It's good for the algorithm. And you know what? It might even win you some luck with the whiskey gods, and you might get a haul just like this one. All right, so thanks again, and let's get down to the epic haul. So just real quick, these whiskeys are not in any particular order, other than the fact that I mixed them up, the bourbon and the Japanese whiskey, because I just got so much Japanese whiskey that I don't want to put them all together and just kind of get monotonous. So I did divide them up just kind of randomly so it wasn't all Japanese all the time in one place. All right, so this first one that I picked up is Hibiki 21, which is crazy. I didn't even know they carry these at Costco. But it was only one per person. So luckily I had the wife with me, and aside from being pretty easy on the eyes, she also has a great second pair of hands for when you were limited to buying one bottle per person. So I actually ended up picking up two, which came out nice because I always get bottle anxiety when I only have one bottle, and I'm super kind of apprehensive to want to open one up when I only have one because once you open it up, then it starts going, and then you'll be left without one. So having two means that I actually will get to try it after all these years of wondering what I should have drank on the airline. So I'm super excited to get this one, and I got two of them. The Hibiki price, the Hibiki 21 price, came out to $324 each, which is a steal if you ask me. I had seen it at liquor stores for $999, and I definitely had to take a pause to think, is that a reasonable price to pay for it at the time? I'm glad I didn't do it because we got this one for way less. But you see some that are even higher, over the 1,000, even close to a lot more. So now I've never actually tried the Hibiki 21, so having it part of the collection is going to be nice. It's nice to fill out the high end of the Hibiki side of the collection, because I don't have a ton of high end Hibiki. I don't have a ton of low Hibiki either, but having the high end, it will be a nice comparison once we get all the line up, and it's definitely a good start. And also, this is one of the hardest ones to get. So I'm super stoked about having this one a part of the collection. I'm really interested to see how it tastes and compares to some of the lower end ones. So look, basically, I know that I'm going to say these for pretty much all of these bottles. But if I had found this next one, which is this Woodford Masters Collection, I'll grab that one. It's the 119.8 proof. If I had found it on pretty much any other day of the week or maybe of the year, it would be all I could talk about to the wife for hours. She would just be tired of hearing about it. But in the excitement over all the other Japanese whiskeys that were there, it definitely got overshadowed on the first go around. So after we had got some of the more limited Japanese whiskeys, so the Hibiki 21 and the other ones, which we'll get to, I had got them out of the merchandise pickup because a lot of folks had actually bought it, and then when they went to merchandise, it was all gone before they got there, and that was that was a mess. So anyway, so after I got the limited Japanese whiskey secure, I went back and I found one of these Woodfords. Now, I had picked a bottle of this up maybe last year or the year before, and it was the only bottle, the last bottle that was available at a Costco in Carlsbad. And so I just picked it up. I know I didn't know anything. I just thought it would be interesting to have. And I tried it, and it just converted me, right? The idea before was Woodford was just kind of an everyday whiskey. It was an everyday whiskey producer, and it made whiskey that was good to mix and to drink at a barbecue or something like that. But trying this one, it showed real true colors of Woodford, how they could make some really special and elegant whiskey in their own unique way. Furthermore, it helped me to kind of get a better understanding of the higher end of the Woodford side, and that when you get to the right level on the lineup, it really does start to knock your socks off. They're just hard to find. So it was super exciting to see this one on the shelf, and I only picked up one of these because I do have one that I've been nursing basically for the last year, in the hopes of not running out before I find it again, especially for this specific year, which is 119.8, which I think is maybe 2019 or 2020, but it'll be a nice backup, and I won't feel so guilty drinking the one that I have. I ended up picking this one up for $109.99 per bottle, and having that nice 119.8 proof, I just love that. It's a great after dinner whiskey or a late night closer whiskey, and it is a true cherry bomb flavor. So I'm just very pleased to have picked this one up, and I can sleep better at night now that I have two of them. All right, so this next one is another one that I would say is actually on par with the Hibiki 21. I probably would have put it as a tie with number one, which would kind of be strange, so I just didn't do it. But I was just overly lucky to be able to get this one. I still can't believe I actually picked it up, which is this Nika 21. And in fact, it would have been number two, but again, like I said, I didn't want to put all the Japanese ones together. So it is number three, but it's not in any particular order. It was a one-of-one bottle that they had at Costco on that exact same day as I picked up the Hibiki 21. So again, these are all from the same Costco. And thinking about scoring this bottle, I mean, it must have been payback from the whiskey gods for all the whiskey proselytizing that I've done up to this point, because I was almost certain that I would not have gotten it. Nika is so very valuable and so sought after because one, the Japanese craze is in full force right now, and look, I'm a part of it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm probably contributing to it. And two, Nika has basically stopped producing most of their age statement whiskey, opting to blend it with other kind of already existing Nika lower end lines to get more purchase on their existing whiskey stock until they can finally catch up to the demand that's out there. And then last, because this Nika bottle was one of one. So it was one of one that was available at Costco. It was known about before Costco did their grand opening. So people knew about it. And I was not the first person in line. I was in the first 50 people. So, you know, the idea of actually getting it, I don't really know how it worked out, but I'm pretty excited that I did. And I picked up one Nika 21 from this Costco because, well, there was only one of them. And it was priced at $459, which, again, amazing price. And I really picked it up because I think it'll be a great addition to the Japanese and the Nika side of my collection. You know, just like Hibiki, I've been collecting Nika and the Yamazakis and all those other ones, and I have some of the other Nika coffee malts and the coffee grains and the from the barrel, which I really like. Oh, maybe that one died already. So having some of the age statements is really going to be a great part of the collection, and to make that comparison between how they are blending it with how they would have done with the age statement ones. So I'm super excited to have this one. I'm super eager to try this one out, and maybe even compare it to the Hibiki 21 and really get a good understanding of what the distinctions between those two distillers are. I know there's a bit of a rivalry. So that's Nika 21. Super excited I got it. I'm just overly excited that I got it. I don't know how else to say it. All right, so next up is this Booker's Ronnie's batch. And it's most other days, again, finding this one would be a real treat. But, you know, as they say, comparison brings the death of happiness. And this is a perfect example of that because, you know, there are so many other great whiskeys all in the same place at the same time. But luckily, in the mad panic, when everyone kind of busts into the first Costco in the beginning of the grand opening, I was still able to pick up two of these bottles. So I got this one, and that's no easy feat, right? They're kind of difficult to carry around. The box makes them pretty unwieldy. So now I'm impressed with myself. I can pat myself on the back. And so when we ended up picking up, this is the 2201 batch. The Ronnie's batch, and I was able to get this one for $79.99. Got two bottles of it, and in general, I mean, basically as time has gone by, I started picking these up more and more, the Booker's that is, because, you know, they're sort of souped up Jim Beam, I get that, but, you know, as they start to grow on me and I start to really understand that there's a difference in taste from quarter to quarter, I always kind of want to pick up one more, because just that curiosity, like, I wonder what they're doing this time around. So I would imagine that on a quarterly basis, I'm probably going to end up hunting these out as they come about. I don't know if I would go out of my way to pick them up, but I'm glad that I got these ones because I can add it to the older ones that I have somewhere around here. The 2104 is the last one I got, so it'll make a nice comparison, and I'm really excited to get it. And I mean, frankly, look, these things look great in the bar, and the little packages. They kind of look like G.I. Joes, the old school G.I. Joes. So very excited to have this one, and lucky to have gotten this one too. Now, yet another Japanese unicorn from this visit to Costco is this next bottle that I ended up picking up, which is the Yamazaki 18. Ba-bam. And yes, this is, you know, on any other day, again, this Yamazaki 18 would be the crown jewel of the hunt, of the whiskey hunt. But, you know, again, it was in comparison to some other pretty giants out there. But this one especially is important to me because it has eluded me and the wife numerous times. You know, over the last couple months, it would show up at a Costco and we'd be too late. Someone would buy it just out from under us that day. Or, you know, we go to Total Wine and it would show up a day later after we had left and someone would get it. So it's super duper frustrating. It seemed very elusive, a bit of a ghost trying to pick it up. So finding it here, this one was pretty exciting at the Costco. And again, it was all in the same place. And so we luckily was pick up this Yamazaki 18. We got them both for $2.79 each. So again, having two is nice because it means that you can drink one and not feel guilty and not feel the anxiety. And this will be the first time. I don't have any other Yamazaki 18, so it's a nice kind of fill in the Yamazaki collection because I have the 12, which I do love, and having the 18 is great. And hopefully, fingers crossed, if you know, enough tries out there, you might get some of the older ones. Now, the other great thing about the Yamazaki 18 is, again, like I said, I've tried the Yamazaki 12, but I'd love to see if the 18 brings some more maturity to the conversation, because the Yamazaki 12 has a strong youthfulness to it, which is enjoyable in its own way. But having a little bit more maturity on it might be very interesting to compare, and as far as enjoy, I think that you know, it's only going to be a better version of the 12. So I'm really excited about that. I'm interested to compare them side by side, and I'm even happier to have it just part of you know, the growing collection of Yamazaki. So I'm super excited to have gotten this one too. Now, this number 6 whiskey is one that I was pretty excited about. I mean, I guess, I'm excited about it. And, you can't really call it anything special or rare or limited, but it is definitely elusive. But it's sold by the pallet at Costco, so it's definitely not rare. But I've seen them kind of pop up around the country. It's always seemed to be missing Southern California. I don't know why, but it just didn't seem to come out here. Which is this Kirkland's Single Barrel Bartons 1792. Look at that. It's pretty good. I definitely like the labeling on it. It's got a nice, cool vibe to it. So seeing it at Costco, it was a pretty big treat. And interestingly enough, if you think about it, gone are those days where distillers are trying to hide their names in shame when they collaborate with Costco's signature brand, that's Kirkland, rather preferring to be anonymous than being on there. But here you can see that Barton's is proudly proclaiming their collaboration in this whiskey. So I think that is good. And my hope is that it'll mean that they are willing to kind of raise those standards a bit that you would normally get out of Kirkland, which, honestly is kind of more focused on, economy over quality, and that's totally fine. That is what it is. But also, being a single barrel, there's a much less likely of a tendency to water down the ABV and make it right at 40%, like some of the other ones. I know I got the Space Side. I was actually at 46, but or the other Kirkland got the small batch bourbon one, 7-year. That one's kind of interesting too. So I don't know. I think having a name brand on there does kind of maybe boost up the credibility and make them want to do a little bit more. It is definitely not a regular Kirkland bourbon like the one I just showed you. So I'm excited to try it out and to add it to the Kirkland collection that I have. Because I am such a big lover of Costco in general. It's great to have all the different collections, and they kind of change it up. So I don't know how long this one's going to last, but I'm excited to have it. We got it for $23.99, and you know what? It'll be a great addition to the Kirkland line of whiskeys, and we can try them all next to each other as time progresses and really see if there is a difference by having that Barton's name on there or not. All right, so this time I'm not going to say it. Actually, you know what? I am going to say it. But if it was any other day, this next bottle would be the biggest crowd pleaser in the hunt. I bet you know how that goes. So that being said, I want to show the next bottle, which is the Hibiki Master Select. It is a non-age statement whiskey. We got it for $119.99. And again, I grabbed 2 of these because I think, 1, it'll be a great addition to the collection as a whole. 2, the wife also enjoys Japanese whiskey, so having 2 is important because we drink it twice as fast. Not exactly twice as fast because she's more of a sipper, but it's nice to have 2 of them and to add to the Hibiki collection. Because right now I have the Harmony, we have the Hibiki 21 that we found in this one, and now we have the Hibiki Master Select. Which is, I think, when I think about it, it really is going to be the highest end of the low end of the Hibiki collection, like right before you start getting to the age statements. And like with the Yamazaki, I'm really interested to see how the blended whiskey, which has, higher end whiskeys, and I would suspect the 21 or the 17 or the 12 in it, and how that compares to the pure 12, 17, or 21s. So I'm really excited to have this one as a part of the collection. It kind of starts to fill out the center of the collection. For Hibiki, and I've tried the Hibiki Harmony only. That's the only one I've tried, and I really liked it. So I think that this would obviously be a step up, as it is a master selection. The master selected it, and again, can compare that, like with the Yamazaki, to the 12 and the 17 and the 21. And so I'm just super excited to have it on there. And you know what? I mean, look at it. Look at that bottle. It's just going to look great on the shelves up here in the collection. So very excited to have gotten 2 of those. All right, so bottle number 8 in this haul is one that is basically a fraternal twin to the Kirkland Single Barrel, what we talked about earlier, which is this Kirkland Bottle and Bond. There we go. Looks good. It's not as snazzy looking as far as the label, but I was also excited to pick this one up. It is also from Barton 1792, so it's from the same distiller in the same year. So again, they must have been roommates in the dorms or something. And this is yet another bottle that it didn't show up most often on the West Coast, at least not until now. And I think it's starting to come up more now, but I had seen it in places like Kentucky and maybe Texas, if I remember correctly. But it's really exciting to see. And in fact, after we picked up all of our Japanese whiskey bottles, that's when I went back to pick up at least one of these bottle and bonds. And I'm not going to say as an afterthought, but basically as an afterthought, because it really did just get overlooked. It got ran past, I think, twice. Went back to get the Japanese whiskey, went back to get the bourbon, and then, as a one last look, I was like, oh, they have these ones. So I was pretty excited to get this one. Now, this 1 liter beast is yet another iteration of that Barton's 1792 Kirkland collaboration. I picked it up because, again, I want to add it to the Kirkland collection. I want to see it as a counterbalance to the single barrel and see what the big distinction, what the nuances are between the bottle and bond from the same distillery and the single barrel as well. The ABV are slightly different. So the ABV on the single barrel is 60, and I believe on this one it is at 50%. So it just meets the minimum criteria for bottle and bond. I think you can see it there, the ABV on it. Again, definitely good enough to get you where you want to go, and I'm really excited to see these kind of collaborations with Kirkland, so you can get some very good whiskey, hopefully, in a liter size, luckily, for a pretty good price. And this one was $29.99, so it's slightly less, and again, be a great collection to add to the Kirkland part of the collection. So that's the 1792 Kirkland Bottle and Bond. All right, so last but definitely not least, yes, it is at the bottom of the list, but we know that really means nothing, is this Yamazaki 12. It's weird because this one has a weird kind of special spot in my life. First is because of its scarcity and my habitual inability to ever find this one at a reasonable price. Whenever it does go on sale at Costco, I almost have like a Pavlovian reflex to grab at least 2 of them, even if I have some at home. It's just like a basic unconscious reaction at a base level in the lizard part of my brain. And especially because it was one of the early Japanese whiskeys that I had seen right in the very beginning of understanding that there is Japanese whiskey. I saw it at a Costco, and it was next to Hakushu 12. And really not knowing anything about Japanese whiskeys as a whole, and at that time not having enough money to buy 2 of them, maybe not even one of them, I decided to buy the Hakushu 12. So it was the first Japanese whiskey bottle I ever bought. But as a result, I was always left wondering, should I have chosen the Yamazaki 12 instead? Would things have turned out differently? Would I not have loved it as much? Would I have not gone to Japanese whiskey as hardcore as I did if I had gotten the Yamazaki 12 instead? It's just one of those things. I wouldn't call it a regret. Maybe it's a regret. No, it's just kind of one of those things that that's how life goes, in life and in whiskey. But luckily I was able to pick up 2 of these at the same Costco at the same time, one for myself and one for the wife. It's something that we share. Again, she loves Japanese whiskey, so it makes it all sweeter to have somebody else who you love to also enjoy with and share Japanese whiskeys with. Now, this one was priced at $99.99 per bottle, so it's quite a good price, especially in comparison to what you can see at the liquor store, and that goes for all the other Japanese whiskeys we talked about today. Picking up these 2 bottles was really, I guess I saw it as necessary. 1, because it fulfills my inner whiskey drought needs of getting a whiskey that had eluded me so many times. And 2, because you never know. You never know when the Japanese whiskey drought's going to come back. And so having enough to last you through those days, the doldrums, I thought it was going to be necessary. So I picked up 2 of them. Very excited to add the collection. I already have some, but I want to make sure I got enough for the future. All right, so that's it for today. For one of the most epic Costco whiskey hauls I have ever had, and then that's why I wanted to make it the first one. And this haul, I was just stupid lucky. I'm just not sure how to describe it. I mean, there's the Nika 21, the Hibiki 21, the Harmony, the Woodford, all the other ones out that we got. Just unbelievable. I still have a hard time just fathoming that they were all in the same place for such a reasonable price. I'm just ecstatic with the whiskey that I was able to pick up, and needless to say, I did lose a bit of control. That is true. But look, if I may justify myself to the world and to myself and to anyone else who's listening, when it comes to a selection like this and at the prices that you can get at, when these opportunities come up, you just kind of got to blow out the whiskey budget, because opportunities like this, they don't show up that often, and I refuse to feel guilty about it. But yeah, just have to enjoy. Gonna have to enjoy my Johnny and Jack for a couple months in the handles until everything kind of balances out on the whiskey budget. So super excited about it. Still, the wallet's hurting a little bit from it, but happy that we got it. Alright, so that's it for today's August whiskey hauls, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. And like I said, I'm really excited to up the level of the channel and start doing some more interesting stuff with the actual whiskey that we are getting and picking up on these whiskey wanders. And I definitely think there's going to be lots of more interesting stuff to come, so make sure you stay tuned. Finally, for all of you whiskey warriors out there who did make it this far, thank you so much for watching to the end. And if you have not yet done it, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. That way you can get notifications when my newest hauls and whiskey wonders and kind of whatever else we can think up comes out. You know, it's good for the channel, it's good for the algorithm, and it might actually win you some favor with the whiskey gods as well. Now, one last thing, please remember that if you do see a whiskey out there that you do love, just make sure you buy it. Because if you don't, somebody else surely will, and it might even be me. All right, I'm out for the day. Adios.